I'm sorry. This is all my fault. You have 48 hours before they come for you. The message from my ex-wife popped up right as I stood frozen at the bank counter. The teller repeated herself for the third time. Her voice was calm, almost robotic, but her eyes showed hesitation. Sir, your account has been frozen. Please contact the credit department about an unpaid loan. $70,000. I swallowed hard. My eyes locked on the computer screen behind her. The bold letters burned into my mind. Personal loan. Account holder, Andrew Carter. This loan? What do you mean? I've never borrowed a dime. My voice cracked, dry, hollow. I tightened my grip on the phone. My knuckles turned white, and then the screen lit up. A message. From the one name I swore I'd never see again. Julia. Andrew, I'm sorry. I did something terrible, but they said, if I didn't do it, you'd be in danger. I felt the blood drain from my face. A chill ran down my spine. I thought I'd cut Julia out of my life when we signed those divorce papers. Over a year ago. No kids, no strings, no contact. The last thing she ever said to me was in that old apartment. She couldn't even meet my eyes. We're not right for each other anymore. And now, just a few lines from her. It all came flooding back, the hurt, the anger, coiling around me like a snake. I stepped back from the counter. My palms were cold and clammy. One question pounded in my head over and over. Who are they? What the hell is Julia talking about? And why is there a loan in my name? I dialed her number. 1 ring, 2. Then her voice came through, soft, shaky. Andrew, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That loan? What is it? Julia, what did you do? I clenched my jaw, forcing my voice to stay calm. On the other end, her sobs broke through. I'd never heard Julia cry like this, not even on the day we signed those papers. I didn't have a choice. If I didn't do it, they said they'd hurt you. If you did nothing, then why the hell is there a $70,000 loan in my name? Julia, answer me. There was silence, heavy, suffocating. And then her words came, broken, like a confession. I forged your signature. They forced me. I thought it would keep you safe. 3 years ago, I thought I was the luckiest man alive. A beautiful, passionate wife. A steady job with enough pay to take care of both of us. And a small apartment filled with laughter. Now, I'm sitting alone in a beat-up car. My bank account frozen. My phone trembling in my hand with a message from my ex-wife. I'm sorry. This is all my fault. You have 48 hours before they come for you. I took a deep breath, but my chest felt tight, like someone was squeezing the air out of my lungs. Cold seeped into my bones, even though the windows were rolled up. On the passenger seat sat a folder. Termination of employment, in bold letters. A cruel reminder that I'd just lost my job. And now, I might be about to lose even more. My name is Andrew Carter. I'm 39 years old. And if you ask me, yes, I used to have the kind of life most men dream about. I met Julia when I was 27. She was in grad school for fine arts in Chicago, the kind of woman who lit up an entire room when she walked in. Her eyes glowing with dreams, her hands always stained with paint. Me? I was a civil engineer, comfortable with numbers and drawings precise down to the millimeter. We were so different, even my friends said, "You and her, how's that ever going to work?" But Julia loved me, in a way that was fiery and fragile. And I loved her back, quietly, deeply, so much that I was willing to give up everything just to hold on to her. I still remember that night, in our tiny one-bedroom apartment with peeling paint on the walls. She whispered into my ear, "I only need you, Andrew. Just you." When she said she wanted to move back home to care for her sick mother, I didn't hesitate. I quit my job at the construction firm, the one that had just promised me a project manager role. I sold the apartment we'd spent 7 years saving for, packed my entire life into 2 suitcases, and followed her south. In those first days, I kept telling myself, it's okay. As long as we're together, it's enough. But as Julia started spending more nights away, As I sat alone, eating cold takeout at the kitchen table, I began to wonder, is it really enough? Then came that sweltering June day. I came home after a long shift at the site. The kitchen was silent. On the table sat a neat stack of papers, divorce papers. "We're not right for each other anymore," Julia said softly. Her eyes were red, but her voice didn't waver. "Not right?" I repeated like a fool. "You said I was all you needed." "I tried, Andrew. But you don't understand. We want different things. I'm sorry." No shouting, no begging. I stood there, gripping the edge of the table so hard my knuckles turned white. Then I let go, and felt nothing. I left that town after the divorce was finalized, took nothing but a suitcase of clothes, a few engineering books, and an old wedding ring. It's still there, tucked away in my nightstand drawer. I've never once opened it. I found work at a small construction company, started over like a stranger in an unfamiliar city. By day, I buried myself in work. By night, I sat in my apartment, listening to the hum of the fridge, learning how to cook for one, learning how to be alone. I told myself I was fine. I didn't think about Julia every night anymore. I thought I'd moved on. But deep down, there's still this cold, empty space inside me, one I could never seem to fill. And then came this morning. This morning, when my boss called me into his office, when he slid a paper across the desk and said, "I'm sorry, the company's restructuring. You'll need to hand over your projects within a week." This morning, when the bank froze my account over a $70,000 loan I never signed. And this morning, when Julia came back, bringing with her a storm I never saw coming. I drove like a man on autopilot. The streets I knew by heart now felt strange, swallowed under a heavy gray sky thick with moisture. When I finally pulled up to my apartment, I sat there for a few minutes, staring blankly, my fingers unconsciously rolling the old wedding ring still buried deep in my coat pocket. That ring. I should have thrown it away years ago, but every time I tried, it felt like cutting off a piece of myself. The apartment greeted me with a cold, hollow silence. The sound of the door clicking shut echoed like metal scraping against my heart. I set my phone down on the table, but then the screen lit up again. Another message from Julia. "Andrew, they forced me to sign. I thought I could fix it before you found out. I'm sorry." I let out a ragged breath, my hands clutching my head as the room spun around me. I thought of Julia from years ago, the girl who once shouted at a party, "I'll never hurt him, I swear." That image cut deep now, as I pictured the numbers on the bank screen. $70,000, enough to crush a man's life at 39. I poured boiling water into Julia's old coffee mug, the one with the faded scrawl. "Good morning, sunshine." Now it sat there, dusty and lifeless, just like our relationship. The phone vibrated. Julia. I hesitated for a second, then answered. "Andrew, it's me." Her voice was hoarse, trembling. "What are you going to say? That a loan in my name was just an accident?" I spoke through clenched teeth, bitterness dripping in every word. Or maybe this was just a small mistake I'm supposed to forgive. "No, it's not like that." Her words broke apart into sobs. "You have to believe me. I never wanted to hurt you, but they said if I didn't sign, they'd come after you." "Who are they?" I almost shouted into the phone. I can't tell you. Please stop asking. I tried to fix it before you found out, but now it's too late." I shot up from my chair, anger surging through me, only to be swallowed by a creeping fear I couldn't name. On the other end, I heard noise, voices, and then a cold, distant male voice. "Hurry up, bitch, or you know what happens." "Julia, where are you?" My voice cracked with desperation. "Andrew, please, don't look for me. If you show up, they won't just hurt me. They'll destroy you too. Listen to me. Tell me where you are. I'm coming." "No, you don't understand how dangerous they are." My throat felt raw. My hands trembled uncontrollably. Julia's words blurred together with memories of this morning. My boss avoiding my eyes. His rehearsed line. The company's restructuring. Something's not right. I don't know where this feeling came from, but deep down, my gut screamed, this isn't just about Julia's debt. There's a bigger trap waiting for me. Andrew, I'm sorry. If you don't figure something out, in 48 hours, they'll destroy both of us. Click. The line went dead. I stood frozen in the kitchen. The warm yellow light shattered across the cold tile floor. The phone slipped from my hand and landed on the table with a dry, hollow thud. And in my chest, one question clawed its way up. Who are they? And what the hell is really going on? I sank into the kitchen chair. The dim yellow light cast shadows across the table, stained with old coffee rings. Julia had just hung up, leaving behind a cold emptiness, one far more terrifying than any anger I'd ever felt. 48 hours. Who are they? And why me? Why would a regular guy like me, a civil engineer, get dragged into this mess? I opened my laptop, logged into my bank account. There it was, $70,000 in bold red letters. Overdue, foreclosure in progress. I scrolled through every transaction, every line of text, desperate for a mistake. But everything was flawless, terrifyingly flawless. An e-signature in my name, a loan file with my photo ID, my email, my phone number. No, this can't be, I whispered, fingers digging into my palms until my nails broke the skin. The phone buzzed. An unknown number. Andrew Carter? A deep, raspy voice, so cold it sent shivers down my spine. Who is this? Doesn't matter. Just remember, you've got 48 hours. Pay up or lose everything. Who the hell are you? Where's Julia? I barked, struggling to keep my voice steady. Her? Ha. She's just a puppet. So are you. But you get to choose, Andrew. Pay or break. Click. The line went dead. I sat there, frozen, my heart pounding out of control. The small kitchen felt like it was closing in, squeezing the air out of my lungs. I threw on my coat and stepped into the street. The night air sliced into my skin. Streetlights cast a pale yellow glow, stretching my shadow long across the pavement. Then, a memory surfaced. Julia's arms wrapped around me from behind, her voice soft, radiant with a smile. As long as I have you, I'm not afraid of anything. That promise had once given me strength, enough to give up everything, to follow her back home and start over from scratch. But now, here I was, alone, walking a desolate street, unsure if I could believe in her anymore. Footsteps. I froze and spun around. A man in a black coat stood a few meters away, his face hidden in the shadows. I quickened my pace. So did he. I turned sharply into an alley. The footsteps followed, faster now. "What do you want?" I shouted, my voice cracking. The alley was empty. The man was gone, like he was never there. My phone buzzed again. An anonymous text. "Don't bother running, Andrew. We know every step you take." My body stiffened. My fist clenched so tight it felt like the blood stopped flowing. I needed someone I could trust. The only person left was Kyle, my best friend from college, now an IT engineer. E-signature, huh? If it's a digital signature, there's still a chance it was forged. Kyle muttered, eyes scanning the loan documents on his laptop. "Are you sure? Everything points to me, Kyle. Listen to me. I'll dig into the system. But you need to brace yourself. If this is a setup, Julia isn't the only one caught in it." I stared at the laptop screen. My heart hammered in my chest. A vague dread spread through me. What if someone from my old company was behind all of this? Kyle froze mid-keystroke, his face pale. "Andrew, I just found something. This loan file, it was sent from the internal IP address of your former company." My heart stopped. Fragments of memory slammed together. My boss's averted eyes as he fired me. The strange bonus for the new director. "They don't just want the money," I whispered. "They want to make me the scapegoat." "Andrew, I'm not kidding." Kyle's voice dropped low. His eyes locked on the dim glow of the laptop screen. "The loan file was sent from the internal IP address of your old company. And the last person who logged in to approve it was Malcolm." Malcolm. The name hit me like a hammer. I remembered his eyes the morning he fired me. Cold, yet tense, like he was hiding something. Back then, I thought it was just guilt. Now, I'm not so sure anymore. Kyle, can you dig deeper? See if there's any trace of another account tied to this, other than mine. I asked, my voice rough, low. I can, but it's risky. If I break further into the bank system, they might notice. Do it. This might be the only way to save me. And Julia. I left Kyle's place as dusk settled in. The air felt thick, heavy. As I passed by a familiar coffee shop, I stopped. It reminded me of Julia. I saw her in my mind again, wrapping her arms around me in that tiny kitchen, her voice trembling. Andrew, promise you'll never leave me. If you do, I'll have nothing left. That promise was why I'd given up everything to follow her. But now, those words cut like a cold blade. I left the cafe and walked faster toward my apartment. But as I turned into the alley near home, a chill ran down my spine. Someone was following me. Heavy footsteps, close enough for me to hear, but just far enough to keep their distance. I stopped, pretended to tie my shoe. The footsteps stopped too. I spun around. A man in a black coat stood 10 meters away, his face hidden beneath a hood. "What do you want?" I barked, my heart hammering in my chest. The man didn't answer. He stepped back into the shadows and vanished behind the corner. When I opened the apartment door, there it was, a thick envelope lying neatly on the table, scrawled in red ink. "Read this, before it's too late." I collapsed into the chair, hands trembling as I tore it open. Inside was a stack of photos. Me, sitting with Kyle at the cafe. Me, standing outside the bank this morning. Me, asleep on the couch in my apartment. And at the bottom, a photo of Julia, tied up, duct tape over her mouth, her eyes wide open, pleading in terror. At the very top of the stack, a lock of chestnut hair, Julia's hair. I swallowed hard. My throat tightened. A small note slipped out of the envelope. "Don't call the cops. Don't look for Julia. We control everything. Get the money, or she pays with her life." The phone buzzed. An anonymous number. "Andrew, we saw you meeting your old friend. Not very smart." A deep, slow, venomous voice. "I'll find you. And when I do," I growled through clenched teeth. "So naive. You think you're smarter than Malcolm? He sold you out long before you even left that company." "Where's Julia?" I shouted, my chest ready to burst. "Julia? Ha, she's good, pretending to worry about you, while helping us pull you into this game." I froze. Julia? A traitor? Or was she forced? The man's voice rasped. "You have 36 hours left. Bring the money, or we'll send you a video you'll never forget." Click. The line went dead. I dropped my head onto the table. My heart pounded like a war drum. My breath came heavy and uneven. Two questions tore through my mind, like a scream echoing in the dark. Did Julia really betray me? Or is she just a pawn? And what the hell do I do, with only 36 hours left? I sat there in the pitch-black room. The streetlight outside cast long shadows across the cold tile floor. On the table, Julia's lock of chestnut hair lay next to the stack of photos, cutting into my mind like a blade. Someone out there was controlling everything, every step I took, every meeting I had. The phone buzzed. Kyle. "Andrew, I found something." His voice was tight, urgent. I dug deeper into the bank system. Almost all of the $70,000 loan has been transferred overseas, and the name on the receiving account is Julia. My chest tightened. I remembered Julia's eyes the day we signed the divorce papers. Red, puffy. But no tears fell. Back then, I told myself, maybe she's tired. Maybe she doesn't love me anymore. But what if it was part of the plan? What if she'd been betraying me from the start? "Kyle, are you sure?" My voice came out low, hoarse. "I don't want to believe it either. But the data's crystal clear. And there's more, Andrew." "What?" "The man overseeing the loan, Malcolm, he wasn't working alone. He was taking orders from an anonymous account in the system. It's labeled Owl." "Owl!" The word left my lips like a breath of ice. It felt like someone was crushing my chest. Yes, Andrew, I don't think this is just about a loan. This is a trap that's been set for a long time, and you're the prey. I took a deep breath, my mind spinning. Part of me wanted to disappear, to leave all this behind. But another part, the part that still clung to her whispered words, as long as I have you, I'm not afraid of anything, refused to turn away. I stood up, pulled on my coat. I had to find Julia. The night air bit through my skin. Empty streets, neon lights reflected in puddles like cold, watchful eyes. I called back the anonymous number that had threatened me. Surprisingly, he answered. Are you ready, Andrew? Those 36 hours are slipping away fast. I need to see Julia. Face to face, I growled. A low chuckle. You think you still have room to negotiate? Fine. Come alone. The abandoned warehouse in the West Industrial District. Bring anyone else, and she'll never walk out in one piece. I gripped the phone tighter, forcing my hands to stop shaking. Then a text came through. We've checked your car. Don't be stupid. My throat felt dry. That's when it hit me. They knew everything I was doing. Even the phone in my pocket wasn't safe. I yanked out the battery and tossed it on the chair. Before leaving, I stopped by Kyle's place. I handed him the hard drive containing all the data. If I don't come back, give this to the police. Andrew, what are you going to do? I have to know the truth, no matter how bad it is. I drove into the night. The road to the abandoned industrial zone was pitch black. My headlights swept over crumbling buildings, rusted warning signs swinging like ghosts in the wind. I parked outside the warehouse, stood there for a moment, heart pounding. One thought looped in my head. If Julia really betrayed me, do I still want to save her? The rusty metal door creaked as I pushed it open. A figure stepped out from the shadows. The dim light revealed half a face. Malcolm. Hello, Andrew. Didn't think you'd be bold enough to come. Where's Julia? I yelled, my voice cracking with rage. Malcolm smirked, his eyes cold, unflinching. You'll see her. But first, there's something you need to hear. He stepped closer, his voice dropping low. You still don't get it, do you? Julia agreed to work with us, long before she walked out on you. Malcolm stepped slowly toward me, his shoes echoing against the concrete floor. Each step pounding in my chest like a hammer. The flickering tube light above cast twisted shadows across his face, distorting his features between light and dark. You really think Julia's a victim? He let out a dry laugh. You're so naive, Andrew. In this game, she's nothing more than a pawn, trained to move exactly how we wanted. I clenched my fists, fighting to stay calm. Tell me, where is she? You'll see her, right after you hear the truth. Malcolm stopped, his eyes cold as steel. Julia signed a partnership deal with us, long before she walked out on you. My chest tightened. Memories of Julia flooded back. That day, she laid the divorce papers on the table, her eyes red, but her voice firm. We're not right for each other anymore. But now, those words cut deeper, like a blade twisting in my heart. You're lying, I hissed through gritted teeth. Julia would never do this. Malcolm smirked. Then look for yourself. He pulled a USB drive from his pocket and tossed it onto the floor. It's all in there. Emails Julia sent us, payments she accepted when she agreed to lure you in. I bent down to pick it up, my hand trembling. A voice screamed in my head, no, Julia wouldn't betray me. But another voice, cold, logical, whispered, she left without explanation once. What else is she capable of? Malcolm lit a cigarette, exhaling a thick plume of smoke. She begged us to spare you, you know. But sadly, this game has no way out. You, her. You're both just pawns. His phone rang. He answered briefly, nodded, then hung up. It's time. Do you want to see Julia? I nodded, my throat dry and tight. He gestured to one of his men, who swung open the last door in the warehouse. The smell of damp rot hit me as I stepped in. In the corner, Julia sat curled up on a chair, her hands tied, her mouth sealed with tape. Her eyes, wide and glistening, locked on mine, pleading silently. Andrew! She sobbed as the man ripped the tape from her lips. Is it true? Did you really do all this? I asked, my voice rough and low, hands clenched so tight my knuckles turned white. No, it's not what you think, Julia cried. They forced me. They said they'd kill you if I didn't. I thought signing your name on the loan would buy us time. I froze. In her eyes, I didn't see betrayal, only fear, and a desperate, crushing guilt. Don't believe her, Malcolm sneered. Look at her. She's been playing you like a violin. Andrew, I love you, Julia screamed, tears streaming down her face. I never betrayed you. Malcolm forced me to deceive you. He wanted revenge because you exposed his embezzlement scheme at the old company. Rage flared in my chest. I spun toward Malcolm. Is it true? All of this. Just to get back at me? He smirked, his voice low and gravelly. Did you really think you could blow the whistle on me and walk away untouched? From here on out, your life will be nothing but debt and despair. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A message from the anonymous number. If I fall, she'll never walk out alive. I stepped closer to Malcolm, my eyes dark with fire. Maybe you forgot something, I growled. I've never been the kind of man who bows his head. Sirens wailed outside the warehouse. Malcolm's eyes narrowed. His voice snapped sharp. What the hell did you do, Andrew? I tightened my fists, a cold smile curling on my lips. You really thought I came here alone? Sirens wailed outside the warehouse, red and blue lights flashing through the cracks of the rusty metal door. Malcolm spun toward the entrance, his eyes darkening. Damn it! What did you do, Andrew? I clenched the USB drive in my pocket, my gaze sharp as a blade. You really think I came here unprepared? Kyle sent all the evidence to the police before I even walked in. Malcolm let out a bitter laugh, but his voice had lost its edge. You think you've won? Andrew, this game is bigger than you can imagine. I might fall, but there are others. They'll come for you. I glanced at Julia, still tied to the chair, her face pale, eyes red and glistening with tears. You destroyed my life. My voice was low and gravelly, but I won't let you destroy anyone else. The warehouse door slammed open, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Police! Hands in the air! Malcolm roared like a cornered animal. In a split second, he snatched a knife from his henchman's belt, yanked Julia to her feet, the cold blade pressing against her neck. Back off! All of you! If I go down, she goes with me. A drop of bright red blood slid down Julia's skin where the knife had nicked her throat. Her eyes, wide and trembling, locked onto mine, pleading silently. Andrew! Her voice broke, words barely escaping her lips. If you have to choose, save yourself. I don't deserve it anymore. My chest tightened. Each breath felt like a weight crushing my ribs. You're not a killer, Malcolm. I took a step forward, my voice steady but firm. You've had your revenge. You succeeded. But if you kill Julia, you'll become nothing more than a sacrificial pawn for the ones pulling your strings. Malcolm froze. The blade trembled against Julia's skin, leaving a longer streak of blood. You think they'll protect you? I continued, eyes locked on his. They already have enough evidence to pin everything on you. And when they do, you'll die like a discarded piece on their chessboard. Shut up! Malcolm screamed, his voice cracking. But in his eyes, I caught it. The flicker of doubt. The fear. Drop the weapon now, a police officer shouted, gun aimed straight at Malcolm. There's no way out, Malcolm. I took another step, my heart pounding in my ears. End this. Put the knife down. Malcolm shoved Julia to the ground, his eyes bloodshot, wild like a cornered beast. You think I'm scared? If I die? I'm taking you with me, he roared, raising the knife as he charged straight at me. Malcolm lunged forward like a cornered beast, the blade in his hand glinting under the flickering lights. Each step he took sent my heart pounding harder, my veins taut as if they were about to burst. Stop, or we'll open fire, a cop's voice shouted behind me, but Malcolm didn't flinch. You took everything from me, Andrew, he roared, eyes bloodshot with rage. If I go down, you're coming with me. I stepped back, feeling the icy edge of his blade hovering inches from my chest. Malcolm, stop, I shouted, my voice low but firm. You're letting your hatred turn you into the very man you once despised." He froze for a heartbeat, a flicker of doubt flashing in his eyes. But then the rage swallowed him whole again. Malcolm growled, raising the knife and swinging it down. In that split second, I threw my arm up instinctively. A cold sting as the blade grazed my skin. Warm blood spilled from my arm, dripping to the floor. "Take the shot!" Bang! The gunshot cracked through the warehouse, echoing off the concrete walls. Malcolm jerked, his eyes wide in shock, and collapsed to the ground. The knife clattered from his hand, sliding across the floor. A dark stain of blood spread from the gunshot wound in his shoulder. "Secure him!" an officer barked, rushing forward to cuff Malcolm as he groaned in pain. I dropped to my knees beside Julia, my bloodied hand trembling as I touched her pale face. I'm sorry. Are you hurt?" My voice cracked. Julia clung to me, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Andrew, I'm so sorry. I made you carry all this alone." I pulled her close, my chest heavy with every breath. In that moment, anger, betrayal, love, they all blurred into one raw, choking emotion. "We've both endured too much, Julia," I whispered. Outside, the wail of an ambulance cut through the night. Blue and red lights flashed across Julia's tear-streaked face as she leaned against my shoulder. "Do you still trust me?" she asked, her voice trembling. I looked into those watery eyes. Part of me wanted to scream, no, but another part was just so tired. "I don't know," I sighed, "but I do know. I don't hate you anymore." Julia broke down, her shoulders shaking as sobs tore out of her, and inside me a strange feeling stirred. Not love, not forgiveness, just peace. "Mr. Carter, we'll need you to come give a statement," an officer said softly, his flashlight catching the lines of exhaustion on my face. "I'll go, Julia," I said as I stood, my eyes still locked on hers. "But this time, I won't run anymore." As I stepped out of the warehouse, the night breeze caught Julia's hair, lifting it gently. I didn't look back, but in my chest, a single thought echoed. Maybe she's no longer part of my life, but I've finally learned how to let go. The cold white light in the interrogation room made my eyes ache. On the table lay a thick stack of files, the $70,000 loan documents, photos of Julia tied up, scattered like scars on my memory. Across from me, Officer Evans sat, his sharp gaze fixed on mine. "Mr. Carter, you've been very cooperative, but we need you to tell us everything. From the beginning." I took a deep breath. In my mind, broken fragments of memory stacked one on top of another. Julia trembling in the warehouse, Malcolm collapsing, blood pooling across the floor, and the gunshot still ringing in my ears. All right, I'll tell you. I thought back to that day, the day I got the email about a loan in my name. Back then, I was a man who believed in justice, but I got pulled into a spiral where there was no right or wrong anymore, only survival. Evans scribbled in his notebook, occasionally glancing up, his eyes reading the exhaustion on my face. "And Julia?" he asked, in a steady, low voice. "Do you still trust her?" I let out a faint laugh. It was bitter, empty. "I don't know, but I do know. She doesn't deserve to die for her mistakes." The door creaked open. Julia stepped inside. She looked thinner now, her chestnut hair falling messily around her shoulders. Her eyes, red and swollen, still held a flicker of that familiar look. That look that once made me believe that as long as I had her, the whole world could turn its back on me, and I wouldn't care. "Andrew," her voice trembled, I'm asking for a chance to speak." I stared at her for what felt like an eternity. Part of me wanted to scream, "Because of you, I lost everything." But another part just wanted to break down and sob like a child. "Say it," I whispered hoarsely. Julia sat, her frail hands gripping each other tight. "I know. I broke your trust, but I had no choice. Malcolm threatened to kill you if I didn't play along." "You could have trusted me. You could have told me," I hissed through clenched teeth. "You're the only one I ever trusted," Julia sobbed. "But I couldn't risk your life. I'd rather have you hate me than have you gone forever." I turned away, my throat tight, bitter. I wanted to scream at her. "You already killed my heart, Julia." But my heart never learned how to hate her. Julia choked out between sobs. "Andrew, if you need to hate someone, hate me. But please, don't learn to hate your own heart." I closed my eyes, my breath heavy. One side of me screamed with wounded pride. The other whispered memories. Julia's arms wrapped around me, her voice soft. "As long as I have you, I'm not afraid of anything." The intercom buzzed. "Malcolm is requesting to see Mr. Carter." Julia flinched, her eyes wide with fear. "Don't! He'll kill you." I gave her a tired smile. "He has nothing left to lose, and no power left to kill anyone." I stood, hand resting on the door handle. In my chest, a single question echoed. Hatred brought me here, but is forgiveness enough to carry me forward? The heavy iron door clanged shut behind me, the sound echoing cold and final. The air in the room was thick, a mix of disinfectant and dampness that seemed to cling to my skin. Malcolm sat there, his hands cuffed, his face hollow, but his eyes still held a flicker of defiance. "You came to watch me fall, didn't you, Andrew?" He smirked. "Congratulations, you won." I dragged a metal chair across the floor and sat down across from him. "Won?" I shook my head slightly, my voice low, gravelly. "When both of us have lost everything. Tell me, Malcolm, did anyone really win?" Silence. For a brief moment, his eyes faltered. Gone was the predator's stare. In its place was the hollow look of a man eaten alive by his own hatred. "You used to be a good man, Malcolm. How did you let yourself end up like this?" I asked quietly. He let out a dry laugh. It scraped against the silence. "You'll never understand, Andrew. The justice you believe in, it was bought and sold long ago. I only did what men like us have to do, to survive." I locked eyes with him. I believed that once too, but then I realized, when you let hatred consume you, you're not surviving anymore. You're just a walking corpse, carrying the stench of vengeance. Malcolm lowered his head. His broad shoulders trembled, whether from anger or something else, I couldn't tell. "And you," he muttered, "what will you do now? Be the fool who forgives the man who almost destroyed him and the woman he loves?" My fists clenched tight, nails digging into my palms. Two voices battled in my mind. "Make him pay. Make him feel the loss you felt." And another, softer voice. "If you choose revenge, how are you any different from him?" "I could end it all right here, Malcolm," I said, my voice dropping low. "I could feed my hatred until it's full. But then what? I'd become the very man I despise." He looked up, his eyes flickering. A single tear slid down his cheek, so fast it was almost invisible. "You don't deserve forgiveness," I sighed. "But I'm choosing to let go, because I can't carry this weight for one more day." Malcolm gave a strangled laugh. It caught in his throat. "Maybe. Forgiveness is the one thing I'll never understand." I stood, the overhead light stretching my shadow long across the cold floor. "Don't let yourself die a second time, Malcolm. It's late, but you can still find the pieces of who you used to be." "Mr. Carter, time's up," the guard's voice called from the door. I nodded, turned, and walked away. In the empty hallway, Julia stood waiting, her eyes heavy with sorrow. "Andrew, are you okay?" she asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I'm fine," I said, my tone steady. "And I've learned how to let go." She reached for my hand, but this time I gently pulled away. "I need time, Julia, and so do you." As I stepped out through the prison gates, the night wind cut through me, sending a chill down my spine. I no longer carried Julia in my heart, and I no longer carried my hatred. Maybe this is how a man truly moves forward. I sat quietly on an old wooden bench in the park. The autumn breeze swept through, scattering golden leaves across the path. The evening sun faded, casting a warm orange glow over everything, soft and melancholic. In the distance, A young couple laughed together. Their voices echoed, pure and carefree. And for a moment, my heart sank. I used to think forgiveness was a gift you give to the one who hurt you. But no, forgiveness is the gift you give to your own weary heart. I closed my eyes, drawing in a deep breath. Julia's face flickered in my mind, those tear-filled eyes, her trembling hands reaching for mine. And the moment I pulled away, I once believed that if she betrayed me, I would hate her forever. But now, after everything, I feel nothing. No hatred, no love, just emptiness. Some people come into your life to teach you how to love, and some leave to teach you how to let go. I opened my eyes and stared at the sky, painted crimson by the setting sun. And in that stillness, I realized I was no longer a prisoner of my past. Far away, Julia stood there. She didn't move closer. She just stood, watching me quietly. In her eyes, I saw something I couldn't name: regret, longing, or maybe a flicker of hope. I thought about standing, walking toward her, but a quiet voice in me whispered, "That's enough, Andrew. The two of you have come too far to ever go back to who you were." Julia raised her hand slightly, as if to wave, but stopped midway. She smiled faintly, then turned, her small frame disappearing slowly behind the tree-lined path. I didn't call out to her, and for the first time in years, my heart didn't ache. I no longer carry Julia in my heart, and I no longer carry my hatred either. Maybe learning to love myself is the greatest gift a man can give. A soft, solemn melody fades in. The screen darkens and one final line appears. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it makes your heart light enough to step into the future.